That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to the Brian Kelly LSU story keeps getting juicier and juicier. Total Circus in Baton Rouge edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my stupid face. Nobody blames it. Get your podcast audio only wherever you want. Notre Dame on SI. Read all about it. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. Oh, we got a good team over there. Link in the description. We're going to break down the Navy film Look to Pitt. Join us if you haven't yet. Oh, this is the story that just keeps giving and giving and giving, especially if you're somebody like me. It just keeps getting messier and messier, and it's wildly entertaining to watch from the outside when it is not your problem. It is almost unbelievable how much this one guy can mess up an entire state. It's one thing to mess up the football thing, but now the guy's messed up. All the politics are messed up. Now he's suing LSU for $54 million, and it's getting, let's get into the details. This is it's an early Christmas gift for your boy. So LSU wanted BK. They got BK, and now they're getting the full BK experience. Lots of golf, not a lot of winning, and a lot of messy public drama that makes LSU look like an absolute circus joke clown show. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details here. This is complicated. This is Johnny Lawyer here, Esquire, at your service. I love this story so much. It fuels my Irish heart. I love being right about stuff. So here's the latest. This is unbelievable. Follow here. This is a little tricky, the timeline. Follow it. BK and his lawyers gave LSU's leadership a deadline for them to sign a document saying they were going to agree to pay him the $54 million in full to go away. And just go golf or go do whatever you're going to do. Just stay away from the football. You're not good enough at it. So they wanted to do a one-time buyout, $25 million, $30 million. We'll write you a check. You're done. You could just take that money and be gone, whatever. He said, no. My deal said if you fired me, I get the 90% of the full deal. It's $54 million, and where's my money? Okay? So LSU, that deadline passed, and they did not agree to pay him out that full $54 million. Instead, LSU's claiming they're firing BK for cause and therefore don't owe him the $54 million. And maybe it would be a much lower number at a buyout, but they're saying it's for cause. Morality cause? What could that be, you ask? Now, that's juicy. Now, some of this could be something to do with the Greg Brooks situation, the LSU player who had a brain tumor, and his family claims that the program and Brian Kelly didn't handle it right, abandoned the kid, didn't help him, whatever it is. That could be a part of it. Now, there's something else that's come up, and I'm not reporting this, but I've seen this talked about on other LSU shows. Do you remember a few years ago when Brian Kelly filed for divorce? And then that paperwork was rescinded within not even a weekend. And it was public divorce documents, and then they took them back and undid it, okay? There are rumors that this morality clause thing may even have something to do with that whole scenario. And I am not, As much as I don't like BK and he doesn't like me, I am not going to speculate any further about what that could be. But if you're really interested, go to some of the LSU shows and they'll give you a little more. I'm not doing it. Even I'm not crossing that line with BK. But those divorce documents were public, and there is talk that may be a part of this. You could speculate as to what that may translate to. I'm not doing it here. Even that's crossed the line for me, and I don't like the guy. So here's the legal part of this. LSU had a small window of time, I believe a week after firing BK, to let him know that it was for cause and not just play on the field. That window has long passed. This is unbelievable to me. This is unbelievable. This shows how messed up LSU is right now at an organizational level. They had a week to have to let him know it was for cause, right? And not for play on the field. And that changes the buyout. That time passed. Now LSU's trying to say it was for cause. And they're just now officially firing BK. And that Scott Woodward, the AD that fired BK, didn't have the authority to fire BK. So it didn't count until now when the board does it, within the window where they can file saying it was for cause and not have to do the payout. So now LSU's saying that the AD wasn't allowed to fire Brian Kelly, but Brian Kelly thought he got fired by the AD. They're saying the AD didn't have the authority to do it, but the board does, and it's within the time we could say it was for cause and we're not paying you the buyout. What an absolute total circus from top to bottom. Unbelievable how disorganized and messy this whole thing is. So now they want everybody to believe that the AD didn't have the power to fire that coach and that whole thing wasn't real. And then it wasn't official till later, which happens to be within the window to be able to say it was for cause. Unbelievable. So now Kelly's calling LSU's bluff. And he's suing the state. That's important. This is not a private institution. It's a state-run organization. So he's technically suing the state that runs LSU for $54 million, daring LSU to prove the cause in court and this timing discrepancy. So I think Kelly and his people's angle is, you guys all said that it was for us not winning enough games. And then now that I want my money, you're saying that it was for cause, but you didn't say that earlier. Now you're saying it now. And you're saying the AD couldn't fire me, but we all thought he fired me, but he couldn't. It's an unbelievable circus from top to bottom. Amateur hour, absolute amateur hour on all fronts. If this goes to discovery through court, all the skeletons are going to come out of the closet on both sides. And who knows what that's going to reveal and look like. Here's the other part of this. With Kelly technically suing the state, since it's a state-run organization, even if he wins, and it would be hard to prove that morality thing when that's not kind of what they were saying when Kelly left the building. This is so funny. If Kelly wins that suit and it goes through and he ends up beating them in court, that $54 million he would be owed goes to a backlog of over $300 million in fees that the state's already lost in other court cases and has to try and pay out over time. Kelly's $54 million goes to the back of that $300+ million backlog with the state. And it could take decades, or he maybe never sees that money because of how long it would take to get a state settlement. What a total cluster from top to bottom. This is what LSU gets for going the Brian Kelly route. And they really thought they had everybody. They thought they were smarter than everybody, stealing Notre Dame's man. Hey, you wanted him? You got him. The full BK experience, baby. So the legal stuff is the legal stuff, but the next practical application question of this is, how does this affect the job search for the guy replacing Kelly? I struggle with this because I honestly do think, even with all the political turmoil and all the confusion, and they didn't have a president and the messaging was bad, and who's allowed to do this, and is Woodward allowed to do that, the AD, this, all this confusion statewide, I still think it's the best job open. Like, all of this BS about BK, I still, even though it's exposed all of the wild politics and how it all doesn't line up and they're all not on the same page and they're saying things they shouldn't say and canceling out what somebody else said by saying something, all of it, it's still the best job available football-wise, I think. But now you're going to have agents and maybe some of these coaches saying, man, I don't know about this. This is a good football job. They're going to pay you a lot of money. Even if they have to pay Kelly, they're going to pay a lot of money for the next coach. But it's like, man, do I want to deal with this? Do I trust who I'm dealing with? If things go bad, are they going to jerk me around with my money too? How do I know who I could trust? How do I know who's actually in charge? How do I know I can trust these guys? Because all of this is, it makes them look small time. They do not have their ducks in a row. And it's a very, very bad look from top to bottom for the whole state. So I don't know, man. Does this get some of those top candidates like Elaine Kiffin to be like, you might pay me more, but do I need these problems? Do I need these problems? So I don't know. I still think it's the best job available, and they'll probably end up with some, but it makes you wonder, do you have to drop down a notch to like that Sumrall level or like a coordinator level rather than Elaine Kiffin, somebody that's like top of the line, going to demand a lot? I don't know. Because it's like, who am I dealing with? Who's in charge? Who can I trust? Nobody knows across the whole damn state. So this is even a bigger cluster than I could have imagined in my grandest dreams. It makes LSU look horrible. If this goes through discovery, you may find things out about Kelly that he didn't want nobody to know. Who knows? This is what LSU gets. I'll never forgive or forget that late night in November when Brian Kelly left and all these LSU people told me they were on top of the world. They were big shots, stealing little Notre Dame's man. Notre Dame would never recover. Notre Dame was holding back Kelly, and all he had to do was get to LSU, and everything would be perfect. This is what you get for ignoring all warning signs that were flashing for you. You ignored them all because you thought you knew better, because you're the big bad SEC and LSU, and everything would just be fine. Okay? They all mocked me that night when I thanked them and said, this is the best case scenario for Notre Dame. They all mocked me. They ridiculed me. They said, you don't know football. You're small. You don't know what you're talking about. You're coping because we stole your man and you don't really mean that. This is pathetic. Well. Look at the position both institutions are in now. I love being right. So this is wildly entertaining to me. I love it on all fronts. Every day it's a different gift. I love seeing the LSU people struggle with this. They know it's bad and they're frustrated. Sorry, maybe you should have listened to the Notre Dame people that were way ahead of this. So I don't know where it's going to go, but it gets more complicated by the day, and it makes LSU look horrible. Circus time in Baton Rouge.